Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
So, today I thought when we're going into postures that we would focus a little bit on what I call rooting our postures or grounding our postures. I like the word rooting these days, but it's really about becoming aware of gravity because not only do we have gravitational forces, but there's also, the planet lifts us as well. So as we go into each pose, we'll just try to sense that because we will, you know, poses are in different positions using different body parts. And in each pose, we'll start to feel, well, what's gravity feel like? What part of my body really roots to the ground so that another part of the body might be able to release or strengthen or whatever. So we'll just focus on that today and see where that leads us. So let's begin. So, because it's always nice to begin laying on our back with the feet on the floor and the knees bent, it's just nice to feel, okay, what is connecting us into the ground now? So there's our feet, and if you can maybe feel by pressing into those heels that there's that connection from the heel bone into the sit bones, because that will come in handy when we're in different positions. And when we're lying down on the floor, we have more of our body in contact with the floor, so we don't have to use as much of the bones and the muscles to support us. So while you're here, just notice what's in contact with the floor. And are you allowing gravity to let, say, whatever's on the floor spread a little bit? Can you feel? Maybe you want to put your hands maybe down on your belly to just feel the breath moving in. Can you even feel your spinal column on the floor? Now, we have natural curves, so you likely will not feel the neck on the floor. You might not feel the lumbar spine really pressing in, but with the knees bent, you might feel more of the spine on the floor. And as you move the breath, just letting the breath come in and out, can you feel the back side of the body spreading into the floor? And then what happens if you let gravity just let you give in even more? Can you feel that give and take that gravity allows? It's not just about gravity just pulls all our weight to the floor, but it also supports us a lift up as well. So maybe here you can't feel it as well, but just notice what you notice. And see if you can really bring the breath into that whole back side of the body as it spreads into the mat, into the floor. We'll wake up the abdominals a little bit so you can even place the hands next to your hips. Interlock the fingers under your head. Whatever arm position you want, you can hold the elbows over your head if you like. That gives you kind of stretch. And then what happens when you start to bend the legs and extend them up to the ceiling? So what happens to the parts of the body that are connected into the floor? what happens if you just lightly bring the feet down and then just lift them up again. It's almost like what starts to really stabilize into the floor, really ground, is just that whole back side of your body. Back side of your pelvis, your shoulder blades. And just continue to start to waken up those abdominals. And then just for fun, the next time we bend the knees, we're going to straighten one leg out, bring it back in, straighten the other leg. And because we have all this stability and all this grounding through the back side of the body here, we have some movement in the legs. If you want a little more challenge here in the abdominals, you can bring the opposite arm up towards the foot, just for a little bit more crossing over into the abdominals. And here, what stays very stable is the lower back, the pelvis, into the floor. We start to move the legs and the upper body. So let's just even this out. I'm not such a good counter, as you know. So maybe you do a couple of more just to even yourself out. And then bring your feet down to the floor and just allow a little bit of that windshield wiper movement. So here, when you're doing this, the shoulder blades really stabilize, really root into the floor, so that you can have this little weighted twist with the legs. So you're just letting the weight of the legs. So here's gravity at work. Dropping the leg, dropping the leg, dropping the leg. So you can do that anytime you need a little bit of stretch in the lower back. And then we're just going to sort of roll to the side, but I just want you to notice what happens. Are you trying to help yourself along the way, or can you let the weight really bring you? So if you start to drop the knees down, can you let that start to pull you over onto your side so that you really become friends with gravity? We'll just do that again just so you can go to both sides. So we'll do it a couple of times. So if you roll back up and you try to keep as much of your body connected to the floor and only let it roll, as the weight pulls it. So we drop the knees and then allow everything else to roll over. And rolling back. Do that 2 more times. I'm going to go away from you and then I'll roll towards you on the next time. So you want to even yourself out. We'll do 2 more times. Just drop the knees to one side. And what does that start to give movement in the body? Using that gravity to roll you over to your side. And then coming back. And then dropping the knees again and just allowing that to pull you into your side. And from here, see if you can place the top hand and then can you just slide yourself up to sitting, and then the head comes up last, so that you're allowing the gravity, you're allowing the body to just settle onto it. So, and then we'll come into feel what happens with gravity what happens with rooting our body when we come into hands and knees. It's our knees and our tops of our feet, some of our shins hopefully are pressing into the floor. As our hands press into the floor, we can engage the arms. And see if you can just feel neutral spine here. And what happens? Well, you know, we can really drop the belly down. That might just give a little arch to the lower back. Or we can just bring a little lift in the abdominals here. And find that length in the spine. And then we can shift the weight over the hands, back towards the feet. Just notice what happens to the body. Are you starting to feel like you're rooted between the hands and the feet? Or the hands and the knees? Or does it feel a little unstable? Just notice what happens when you start to rock forward and back. And then what happens if you lean side to side? So just allowing, you know, like you could do this very slowly and also just really light, like very slow weight shifts, and just notice what happens. You know, where you feel the difference in your pelvis, what you might feel in the arms. And then see if you can come back to neutral spine. And then what happens when we bring big toes together, knees wide. And I usually need to walk my hands out a little bit more. Really pressing through those knees, shins, tops of the feet as you lengthen those sit bones back. So how does feeling rooted here come into play? Feel like you're really dropping the body to the floor, or can you feel that lift through the sit bones and the hips, that you're like an animal that can pounce forward if you needed to, even though this does have a restful place. And then as you inhale and come back up to all fours again, you'll need to shift the legs a little bit. Perhaps as we go into downward dog, just walk the hands slightly forward and then tuck the toes under, and we'll just go into it very slowly and just notice where your weight goes here. How do you feel rooted in this pose? What needs to engage here? Can you feel the legs supporting you so that your spine is long? Because one of the things we're trying to do in downward dog is we have lift in those sit bones so that our spine can really lengthen here. And the spine isn't going like tilting one way or the other, so it's not rounding and it's not lengthening. It is really trying to just be in between those sit bones so that the head and the neck just lengthen forward here. And then how do you move from this pose to big toes together, knees wide? Can you keep the weight in your hands and slowly bring the knees down and go into big toes together, knees wide? The
hands may need to come back a little bit. And then inhale, coming up again. You'll have to adjust through the legs. Walk the hands, maybe a hand length or a half a hand length forward. And again, come into one of those slow downward dogs and see how you root in the pose. Can you really root through those hands? Bring the ears between the arms. And then what happens if you start to walk the hands? Take your time, see what you notice. Start to walk the hands towards the feet. You may have to bend them. If you keep them straight, you can do that. And then what happens when you're standing in Uttanasana? With fingertips down, and if you can lengthen the feet, or you can have them bent, just notice. Do you feel more in your hands now? Do you feel more in your feet and legs? I mean, we can really press the hands down. Some people are flexible enough to straighten the legs and have the hands flat on the floor. Sometimes it works for me, but I like to bring my fingertips on the floor. But now I'm starting to feel how my weight is more in my legs. But a lot of times we start to sit back in this pose. So what happens if we stay here? And of course, your knees can be bent. So bend your knees as much as you need to. But if you start to rock forward and back in this pose, can you feel any kind of tendency for your weight and legs? And then just bending the knees. And can you just hang your upper body forward? Maybe you just shake it a little bit so that you can really come into the legs. And as you roll through the spine, what do you start to notice in the legs? As you slowly unfold, can you feel when your pelvis comes over the ankles? So when you're standing in the middle of your mat, maybe just have soft knees a little bit and do a little bit of rocking forward and back in the feet. Can you feel where it feels like gravity might take you forward or gravity might pull you back? And then just do a little bit of shaking the lower body by just a little bit of knee bending. Can you really feel the contact of your feet into the floor? And now imagine you had a string pulling you up on the top of your head. Can you feel that head just resting on top of the spine? As you're breathing, can you feel that the breath widens in all these directions? And then slowly inhale those arms overhead wherever they go. They might still be a little bit forward. Just notice what happens to your weight in your feet. Do you feel even more grounded? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel sort of a rebound from the earth? So you feel like weight sinks down, but then there's a force that lifts you up. Just notice how that
feels in the body. And then exhale the arms down. And then you can either step or jump. So bring the hands in front of you. And as you bend, it's like in dance, it would be a plie. So that just gives you something to spring off of if you want to jump wide. We'll actually do that a couple of times to get used to that. And then you jump back into the center, and then you jump wide. I don't know if that's so wide. Jumping back into the center, jumping wide. And so how does your weight feel here? Does there feel like there's a buoyancy? Maybe not, but just you can play with that and play with that buoyancy. And so now that we've got the legs wide, the knees are a bit soft, we're going to really press up those legs. Bring the arms out. So how does this position feel? Do you feel very grounded, very light, flat? And then you can bend the knees slightly to bring the left foot heel, toe to heel, right foot heel to toe. And then really press through those feet. Can you feel that lift that comes up the spine? And then you can inhale, coming over into triangle, Utthita Trikonasana, and either place the hand on the thigh or the shin, or you can just have the arms coming through your shoulders and not put any weight, so that everything's being held in the lower body and the legs. And then inhale, slowly coming up, bringing the feet parallel again. How is that feeling? Where are you feeling? Are you feeling rooted into the ground? And maybe you don't. Maybe it's a rough day. Maybe you're feeling sluggish. Maybe you're feeling light. And then take that right foot toe to heel, left foot heel to toe. And really pressing through the feet and the legs. Coming down into Utthita Trikonasana. Hand can come wherever. Or you can just have the arms coming out through the shoulders. A couple of breaths here. And then inhale, coming up. Bring the feet parallel. Then can you soften the knees and jump back into Tadasana. Now just take a moment and notice your feet in Tadasana. Notice where the weight is. Does it feel even through your feet and legs? Where are you feeling supported? Or are you feeling like everything's dropping and gravity's really pulling you down? Just notice. And then again, slowly bring those arms up. And just notice if there's a difference in the feet and the legs, in the spine. What happens when the arms come up? Sometimes when we slow it down, we might, I'm going to exaggerate, we might feel that we thrust our chest up or we arch our lower back a bit. So sometimes just slowing just that movement down allows us to notice what's going on in the rib cage or what's going on in the shoulder. And exhale the arms down. Bring the hands up to chest level. And we'll jump a few times again, bending the knees. Jump wide. Jump back in. You can always just step if the jumping doesn't feel right. Bending the knees, jump wide. Jump back in. Bend the knees, jumped wide and we'll stay there. And take the left foot toe to heel, right foot heel to toe, and this time we'll go into Parsvakonasana. So as you bend that front leg, you can support the right leg, right forearm, and then where's your weight? What are you feeling through the feet? You know, sometimes we get into yoga poses and we're so worried about the heat that we're building in the body that we can't really feel the body in the pose. And it just takes some time to build up the stamina, and these standing poses help do that. Now with your top arm, keep it down low, straight up and down, or up and over. A couple of breaths here. Inhale, slowly come up, bring your feet parallel, and taking the right foot toe to heel, left foot heel to toe, and then bend that front leg, left forearm onto the left thigh, and again just notice that the feet, where's the weight? Are you getting support from the ground? Can you feel your feet and legs really earthing, rooting into the ground? And then you can either lift the top arm up, or you can bring it up and over into Parsvakonasana. And inhale, slowly coming up, bringing those feet parallel. You can inch a little closer if you need to. If you want to jump, soften the knees and jump back in. And then you can just bring the hands down, and a focus on earthing and weighting our body would just not be complete if we didn't practice tree pose, would it? So I'm going to do mirror image again. So standing on your left foot. So what happens if we start at the basic level of just bringing that foot to the ankle? And we feel how we root to the ground. We'll just start here. And then we'll bring that foot down. You know, and what does it feel like when you shift back into 2 feet? Feel more grounding for you? And then what if we shift the weight into the other leg, so into the right leg, and bring the left foot on the ankle. Bring the hands down and the foot down. And then coming back into, I had a teacher once who talked about the feet being like a cathedral. So I guess the arch was where that lift up is. So there's something foundational in a building like that. So the feet really do have a foundational quality. So let's now go to the second level of tree, shifting over to that left foot. Can you bring the foot to the calf muscle, or perhaps a little bit higher? You can just start at the calf muscle. And then bring that foot down and the hands down. What does it feel like to come back into 2 feet? And then standing into the other leg, bringing that foot into the calf muscle. Bringing the foot down, coming back into 2 feet. Now you can always go to one of the simpler ones for the next one, or you can go full on for the last tree. So Standing on the left foot, bringing the right foot up, toes pointing down. Hands can start into prayer. If you feel up to it, arms can come overhead. If you have open enough shoulders, you can try to bring the hands together, but you need to try to straighten the arms if at all possible. So how does gravity work here? Do you feel support from the ground? Can you really feel that one leg really supporting you? The tree trunk. And then exhale the arms down and the foot down, going into 2 feet. What does that feel like? And then standing on the other foot, bringing left foot up, hands in prayer, arms overhead. And again, if you're okay, through the shoulders, hands together. You want to straighten the arms. I mean, they can come a little forward if you have trouble. Arms down and the foot down. Just standing in Tadasana now, and just notice what you feel in the feet and the legs, your relationship with rooting down into the ground with gravity. One more slow rise of the arms overhead, just to notice what's happening in the body. Arms overhead. And release the arms down. And oh wow, we're running out of time. Oh, I get carried away. We'll do a nice little twist, finish off. A seated twist, so we can feel what it feels to be in gravity and rooted in a sitting position. You want to really try to be on those sit bones. And then what happens? Now, if you tend to sit back, this is when you might need something higher so that you can sit in that 90-degree angle. If you bring your hands down next to you, you can either press the hands into the floor if that works for you. Where's the weight here? Trying to really press the back side of the legs in, so we need to engage the tops of the legs. And then bending to the opposite side. Bending the right leg in. And just placing the hands here. So now you're going to press that heel into the floor and the sit bone. Can you feel your sit bones and that length in your head? And if you start to wrap that left arm around, looking to the side, you feel pressing through left leg, right foot and sit bone. Slowly twist around. If you feel like you've got the ability to put the elbow here, you can place the other hand behind you. So where does you feel the weight in this pose? Where are you grounded or rooting in? And slowly unwind and come back into Tadasana staff pose. You can have your hands next to you, really rooting those backs of those legs into the floor. You can really root the hands too. So perhaps the hands help give you some lift help you lift that spine. And then slowly bend the left leg in. And first, just holding that shin. Just letting the body get comfortable or access this position. And you can wrap the right arm around. Just letting the body settle here. What parts of the body do you feel are really rooting into the floor, the back side of the right leg, the left foot, the left sit bones, the both sit bones. And then if you feel up to it, you can put the elbow on the thigh, really press into the twist, getting more access into the abdominal. And slowly unwind. And then whatever you need for Savasana, if you want to have a chair with the legs up into the chair, or if you want just to be in plain old Savasana, or if you want some support under your knees, like a little bit of a cushion, you can go into Savasana this way. Whatever position you find yourself in, let yourself notice your breath. Notice what parts of the body touch the floor, touch the ground, touch the earth. Each breath, you let your body sink into the roots, sink into the earth, sink into gravity. Can you allow whatever part of your backside of your body is touching the floor to just sink deeper and deeper. And then can you allow the front side of your body to sink deeper into the back side of the body? Sinking deeper and deeper. Perhaps as you allow the body to really sink deeper and deeper into its rootedness, there might be feelings of lightness, maybe not. So just notice what you feel, notice what your body is, information it's giving you. Sometimes we don't even know that we're holding on to a body part until we just lay back into a Savasana pose. Ask to just allow the body to sink into gravity, into the weight, into the earth. into your rootedness. Maybe here you can find some deep rest. Perhaps some nourishment. Or perhaps refueling. Refueling for whatever comes next in your day. And then slowly begin to reawaken your body, stretching through your fingers, your feet, your toes, your hands, giving yourself a stretch. And just make sure as you roll to one side, you really let gravity be your friend and help you do that rolling without effort. And then coming up to sitting when you're ready. And namaste, and have a beautiful evening, day, afternoon, whenever you decide to do this video. thank you for watching and joining us. And namaste.